What's up, everybody? Brian Wagner, lead content creator of the Drag Scene here. Matt Latino. Matt, fresh face. I didn't even know that your dad had a son that was in the racing. I look at him like, that's not Eric in the car. Everybody's like, oh, his son's licensing. Let's hear the story, man. Spill the tea. What's going on?
I've been involved with my dad's racing career my whole life. So I was part of his pro mod team since I was 12, 13 years old. I was pulling the tranny, pulling the clutch out of that thing, and all my life I've been wanting to get behind the wheel of one of these things.
So you got the opportunity, and you're telling me that it's one of these deals right now where you're just the stunt driver a little bit, if you will?
Pretty much, yeah. So since this race is not part of the point series, it was a good opportunity for me to jump in, drive the car. Dad said, listen, you're going to need some experience if you're going to run in the NHRA circuit. This one, I'm not too worried about not getting any points here, so drive it, a lot of test sessions here, get comfortable in the car, and make sure that it's something you really want to do.
Exactly. And then you said you're going to run some with Charlotte after Charlotte this year?
Yeah, there's a likeliness that my dad's going to have a knee procedure probably around the time the Charlotte race falls. He'll have a pretty long recovery, so I'll likely drive the following two races after that. That's still to be determined, and that's also depending on whether I get funding on my own car.
I was going to say, let's talk about that, because you mentioned that you're trying to raise some funds for your own deal, because this is so I think some people sometimes get the misconception that Dad's just going to give him everything. That's not how this works, is it?
Not at all. My dad gave me the opportunity to go get my license, and I've got this opportunity this weekend, thankfully, but that's it. After this, I'm on my own. I've got to be fully self-funded, so I've got to go out there and show some of these companies that I can represent their brand, and not only from like a, hey, here's a sticker on the race car standpoint, from, hey, what business can we generate for you here at the racetrack?
And, what's it been like kind of doing this whole, running a pro stock deal is pretty interesting to jump into a car like that. Did you run anything before? Is this your first big tire crazy fast car?
There's two vehicles that I've ran on a drag strip before this. My first car was a 1964 Valiant, which I call my sleeper Valiant. I had a small block stroker engine, which made around 650 horsepower.
Oh, only.
Yeah, it was all right. It was an 11 second car, nothing special, but I had to shift it. I had to do my burnouts, the line lock, stage it. So getting that racing etiquette down at 16 years old. And then I got into a 1972 Duster Pro Street car, which was like a 9-second car. So 890, 90. So again, that got me comfortable running higher speeds, shifting on a shift light, similar staging procedure as the Pro Stock. And once I got comfortable there, I moved into the Pro Stock.
What's it been like making that transition into a Pro Stocker? Because it's arguably one of the most busy cockpits in all of professional drag racing.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So you've got to worry about your burnout, getting your RPM proper, not be up on the chip, not be too low, don't walk the car around. The staging procedure, even where you stage, when you pre-stage and you stage, is also very important to your ET as well. If the car's walking out of the groove, you can't miss your shift. I made a mistake on my last test run where the car was leaving the groove a little bit, and I was so focused on trying to get it back in that I hit the chip on my 2.3, my 3.4, and I short shifted the 4.5. There's so much going on that you've really got to just be dialed in.
And I always drive this point home with people that pro stock racing is like fuel racing, nitro is like power overcomes all. Like they're trying to calm them down. It's not a matter of efficiency, it's brute force, blunt force trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Pro stockers are measurements in efficiency. That everything's optimized, you have to hit those shift points and everything else, right?
Yes, it really comes down to the driver here. I've done a pretty good job nailing my shifts throughout the week. I've done very well when it comes to letting the clutch out, keeping it under control, keeping my shifts on point. So I'm excited. I'm getting comfortable in the car. It definitely is a driver's game, which is why I love Pro Stock so much. I used to have a dream to race Pro Mod, but once Pro Mod kind of switched into trans brakes and automatics, I still love the class. I'd still love the opportunity to drive one day, but that's really when Pro Stock took the front sight for me.
And it's interesting you make that, people I think sometimes get the misconception that Pro Mod and Pro Stock is just Pro Stock and power adders. They are such different. Pro Mods are animals. You are in a fight for your life to keep that thing where you want to go.
Pro Mods are being run like top fuel cars these days.
And with the Pro Stock, again, it's interesting you mentioned the whole the procedure and whatnot you go through it. Is that something that your dad's been able to kind of really help coach you with?
So I'm very thankful to be part of the KB Titan camp. I've got not only my father's been giving me all sorts of advice and keeping me nice and calm, but I've also got guys like Dallas Glenn and Dave Connolly and Lon Moyer, and all these guys really have been great. After I come back from every pass, we sit down, we chat about what we did right, what we did wrong, what to keep an eye on, and I couldn't be more thankful. These guys are awesome. I've got Dallas Glenn thrashing on his car, but he'll still make sure to stop, come over, and talk to me about my run, and make sure I'm comfortable and know what's going on.
So, what has been the most surprising thing to you about jumping behind the wheel of a Pro Stocker? What's the one thing you think you know what you're going to expect to happen, and something happens, you're like, well, that wasn't part of the mission plan. What's that been so far? That, with what you're doing with it?
I've been pretty good at handling the G-force. Obviously, the first couple times I let the clutch out hit me pretty good. It's just the procedure, just getting the procedure dialed in. There's so much going on. I've been running my mouth around the pits for a couple of years now. Like, I can drive one of these. Throw me in the car, Dad. I'll show these guys what I've got. But there certainly is a lot going on. You really just what came out of shock to me is how much is going on and how much you really need to be on your game, and you can't deviate from your procedure.
Interesting stuff, Matt. Thanks for the time. Make sure you watch Matt this year. We're going to cover him on Drag Scene as he begins his Pro Stock journey.